This episode is brought to you by Temptations Cat Treats. Your cat will come running for the perfectly irresistible Temptations Creamy Puree and Temptations Lickable Spoon Cat Treats. The best time to feed lickable cat treats to your cat is anytime. Feed by hand for a playful moment, in a bowl for a creamy treat, or as a topper to make mealtime fun. Visit temptationstreats.com to learn more.
Today on CityCast Boise. Our city council's decision to make the pride flag an official city emblem has sparked heated conversation nationally, with both celebration and anger. Meanwhile, library board races are becoming the next front in Idaho's culture wars. And the warm weekend forecast is perfect to celebrate a beloved restaurant reopening. It's Friday, May 9th. I'm Lindsay Van Allen, and this is what Boise's talking about. Happy Friday, everyone. Joining me to break down all of the news, everything that's been happening this week, is our executive producer, Frankie Barnhill. Thank you so much for joining me today, Frankie.
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy Friday.
I'm glad you're here because once again, Idaho is making national news, Boise specifically, and it's a lot of feathers have been ruffled. And it's all due to House Bill 96, which was the flag ban law, or the law that stopped cities from flying flags that weren't, the American flag, official city flags, state flags, things like that. But seemed pretty targeted at Boise for flying the pride flag. Boise's been flying the pride flag at City Hall for years. Did you get a chance to watch the city council meeting on Tuesday where they passed the resolution?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I watched it live. And this resolution from the city council to officially make the pride flag one of the official flags to therefore fit into that the law that is in effect right now and has been the topic of conversation for several weeks now. Here we are still talking about it. But this is kind of, the latest thing is the city council said, okay, well, how about we just make the pride flag an official flag, and then it'll fit into this law's language. And of course, they also had the Boise official flag, the blue one, because we're not getting a new one anytime soon, as we've talked about recently, with that redesign not going well. And then the organ donor flag was the other one. So those three are now official city flags by way of the city council, and the mayor had previously proclaimed that. So this is like putting it in writing, and the vote was 5-1. The only council member who voted against it was Lucy Willits, and we can talk more about what she said and why she voted against it. But yeah, Boise, it feels like kind of a checkmate moment to me, or at least a check in this chess match that's been going on between the legislature, triangulating with the attorney general. I don't know. What do you think about it?
I very first want to clarify, because I've posted about this on social media, and I've got a lot of people who lean very upset about what has happened, saying that it's in violation of state law, that they're violating the state law. And so I just want to be clear that the exact statute reads, a governmental entity shall not display a flag on its property other than the following: A, the United States flag; B, the official flag of a government entity as defined in this section. So by making it an official flag of a government entity, i.e. a city, they are now in compliance with the law. And the big issue with this law previously is that there was no enforcement mechanism. And so they passed this law, and it runs into some First Amendment issues potentially. And so I think that might have also been part of why there was no enforcement mechanism. So now with the city being in compliance with the law, a very, good trouble malicious compliance,
Right.
a very unique, it will be interesting to see what the state tries to do. Senator Tammy Nichols on Twitter, or I guess X now, I don't like to call it that, I'm going to call it Twitter,
Fair enough.
said that there will, quote, there will be consequences.
Okay.
Is that
What?
a veiled threat? Like what,
Yeah.
though? Like
Right.
what can you do? I mean, you can seethe and rage, but what can you really do, Tammy? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What can you think of anything that the state could do that would be constitutional at this point?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the next move in this chess match might be, and it's hard for me. I mean, what could the legislature do next year? I mean, right now, yeah, we know that the attorney general had sent like the warning letter to McLean, and then therefore, then they said, okay, well, we'll just go ahead and make this official then. So it's hard for me to know what the legislature could do next. I suppose I don't want to give them ideas, but what are they thinking? Also, should say that the city's lawyered up. The mayor, before the resolution was passed, also said, oh, yeah, by the way, we also got these pro bono lawyers who are ready if any legal action is taken on this matter. And yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, it's also interesting that, yeah, we were written about in the New York Times along with Salt Lake City, which had a very similar situation with their red legislature passing a very similar law, although theirs has an enforcement mechanism, right? Of some kind?
Yeah,
Okay.
and there's barely passed, I think,
Yeah.
because of this enforcement mechanism.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, we were written about because the city has decided, the mayor and the city council members, minus Lucy Willits, have decided this is that important to them. And, obviously it comes after the legislature wrapped up with a lot of really anti-queer, certainly anti-trans in particular legislation, and Boiseans in particular, feeling like they wanted to hear from their city officials. And, there's always that question, like at the city council meeting, there were lots and lots of people, and it was standing room only. It was packed. There were moments where the mayor had to tell people in the audience, please, this is a proceeding. We can't, no booze, no cheers right now. And they actually had to go to a recess at one point because that was kind of getting a little heated. What was interesting, it's always a question of who's in that room? Are these people who live in Boise, or do they live in other parts of the Treasure Valley? Who gets to have a say in this? And I'm sure that there were Boiseans in the room who are against this pride flag being official. And I'm sure, city council members said they heard from some constituents, certainly, who were against this idea. They also heard from a lot who were in favor of it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, what Lucy Willits said, since we mentioned her a couple of times, her concerns. She actually brought up the flag redesign debacle and mentioned how, her constituents during that said, hey, we only want the official Boise flag, the one we've had for decades, to be the one that flies at City Hall. That's, according to her, that's what they've said. So she basically said, hey, I haven't heard anything different from my constituents in the last few weeks. So to me, also, we've had no, months of public comment on this in particular because the city had to move quickly on it because of this legal issue. And she kind of asked, posed a question, to what end in the context of if there is any legal ramifications, if there is a lawsuit that costs the city money down the line because of this, could that take away from library services, fire services, things that Boiseans need and want? But yeah, like I said, I'm not really sure what the lawsuit could look like and how that could stick, given what we talked about, that they're following the law now officially. They weren't before, but they are now.
Well, and I think that the issue that comes up is we've seen time and time again how the state is trying to micromanage Boise. It really is. This law only truly applied to Boise and Bonner's Ferry, which I do want to touch on that for just a minute. But so it was a very micromanagey bill. And what I found growing up in a very strict conservative household is if you micromanage people, they will just learn how to get creative around getting around the micromanaging. And just that happens in everyday life. People will find ways to get around micromanaging, especially when these bills are poorly written.
Yes.
And especially when they do kind of fly in the face of some constitutional things like the First Amendment. And so enforcement is sticky at best. So I am curious to see what they'll do. I'm sure there will be something wild, wacky, that somebody wants to do because There are also people who are highly offended by this. And so they're taking it very personally, as in the posts I've made about this, very few Boise people are commenting that they're upset. It's a lot of people from other states who are really upset at choices being made in Boise. But I do want to touch on Bonner's Ferry.
Yeah, what happened there? Remind me.
So for years and years and years, they've flown a Canadian flag because as just a
Because
as
they're
just
really
a
close to the border.
gesture of friendship and a like, hey, we're really close to you and we're friends. We're your friendly neighbors to the south. And so when House Bill 96 was passed, that would have made it illegal for them to continue to fly that flag. And so they took it down because that law had an emergency contingency. It had to go in right away. But the same night that Boise City Council voted to make the pride flag an official flag of the city, Bonner's Ferry voted that every day would be a special occasion, because an exception to House Bill 96 was that they could fly another country's flag if it was a special occasion. So they passed a resolution on Tuesday saying that every day of the year in Bonner's Ferry is a special occasion to commemorate their friendship with Canada.
Sneaky.
Again, it's
okay. All right.
If you are being micromanaged, you will find a way to get around being micromanaged. That is one of the most basic human nature things.
Yeah. Wow. That's fascinating, especially given the context of our posture towards Canada as a country right now, that they're like, no, we're gonna stick with this. Actually, we're gonna find a way around it. So yeah, I guess we'll see what the very next thing is, but this feels to me like kind of like, is this the end of the debate for a little while or of the drama? We'll see.
What does your mom want for Mother's Day? To feel close to you, so don't forget to give her a call. And a gift that can help you stay connected all year, an Aura digital photo frame. My mom lives in another state and I don't get to see her as much as I want to. I love sharing the meaningful moments in our lives though, like my oldest driving with their permit for the first time, or the kids' elaborate blanket forts. I can snap a photo or video and send it straight to her Aura frame. Aura was named Best Digital Photo Frame by Wirecutter, and after using one, I get why. It makes sharing moments with loved ones feel easy and intentional. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off, plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver matte frame. That's auraframes.com. Promo code CityCast. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
Okay, Frankie, Boise is not the only place where there is escalating political tensions. Meridian, Ada County in general, but Meridian specifically, is having some library board elections you can do early voting now, but the official election day is May 20th. And this is causing some community turmoil. And the library districts have been causing turmoil here for a while. This is a never-ending drama, it feels like. But there are some repeat actors coming back for this season. Are you familiar with Mike Hahn and Phil Reynolds?
I remember their names from a couple years ago with that unsuccessful Concerned Citizens of Meridian effort to try to dissolve the Meridian Library District. And now they want to be on the library district that they wanted to dissolve, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. No, there's been a lot of unsuccessful movement. Mike Hahn has run for city council unsuccessfully, mayor unsuccessfully. Also, I believe he ran for a representative seat also unsuccessfully. And then, like you said, Concerned Citizens of Meridian, they initially wanted some book bans. There was a 2022 Meridian Library District meeting that went on, I believe, for 5 hours.
Oh, I remember that thing. Yeah, that was forever. What a marathon.
It was a lot. They completely changed the library board meetings after that meeting because of that meeting. But
Right.
both Phil Reynolds and Mike Hahn were there trying to get books banned. And then in 2023, they both were part of the effort to dissolve the Meridian Library District. And like you said, now they are both running for the library board. It looks like they've switched tactics. Did you get a chance to read some of their statements in this campaigning process right now?
I have. I think the one that's most well, it seems like Mike Hahn to me. He's what did he say? He told the Idaho State, he's wanting to protect children from harmful content as one of his aims of his campaign, which sounds like book banning to me. Sounds like restrictions of some kind. So that's in line. But then Phil Reynolds sounds kind of like he's trying to change his tune, according to the Idaho Statesman again, when they interviewed him or asked him to respond to some questions. He said that he supported access to, quote, diverse materials and, quote, stood firmly against censorship. So did he? Did he really make a heel turn? Because that's a pretty big change if that's true.
I'm skeptical, highly skeptical, especially since he shared a Substack on April 29th. So not even 2 weeks ago, that he said is written by somebody who supports his campaign. And it was describing the libraries as having, quote, porn and, quote, sex clubs for kids, and that those were happening at Meridian Library District. They are not happening at Meridian Library District. He was posting about this on the Nextdoor app. I actually got on there and posted some clips I had from some of these library meetings he's been at, asking him if he had changed his perspective. He did not respond to me, but it seems interesting. I think he's trying to run on certain language, and it appears to me he's hoping people have the memory of a goldfish.
And you're not letting him forget, because you've been following this as someone who lives in Meridian and cares about this issue personally for years now. And yeah, I mean, so it's these 2 seats are open for candidates. So we've talked about Hahn and Reynolds, and then there's the other 2 who are firmly in the, basically in the anti-book banning camp, to break it down in simple terms, right? Because Jeff Kohler, who's already on the board, he's been there since 2019.
Yes.
Really weathered the storm of that attempt to dissolve the district and has been focused on all kinds of, like growth and expanding the library, making the branches better for the community in Meridian. And according to what he said to the Statesman, when asked about the harmful materials law, he said, "We follow the law and we continue to follow the law," is how he put it. And then the other person, Garrett Castle, what do we know about him? Because he's kind of new to the scene, right?
Yeah, he has not served on the library board, but he was involved in the effort to stop the Meridian Library District from being dissolved. I believe he testified, but he did also show up to meetings against that, saying that, my family benefits from this. I want to keep the library district intact. And he and Jeff have been campaigning together, Jeff Kohler, and then he also helped with Destiny Hart's campaign in 2023, and she was reelected back onto the library board. And she was a candidate who is very against book bans, dissolving the Meridian Library District, and like Jeff Kohler, has stood against those efforts. So I think it's pretty clear where he stands on that issue, that he doesn't want to dissolve the library district, doesn't want to have books banned, and just wants to, maintain First Amendment access to information at libraries for the citizens of Meridian. So there's 2 seats available, 4 candidates running on diametrically opposite positions.
Yeah, I'm just stepping back from all this, Lindsay. I mean, I just am curious. First off, we've seen the Donnelly Library, right, with this law that went into effect last July. No kids are allowed in the Donnelly Library anymore because it's so small, and they weren't able to accommodate what the law says. So sorry, kids, coming up on another summer where you're not going to be able to go to the library. But there was that lawsuit that was filed, if you remember, in district court against the legislature. I think it was filed in February, and it's still in progress. Not sure exactly where it stands, but it's still out there. And that's from like book publishers, authors, the Donnelly Public Library. So This election, it's the first that has happened, will be the first since the law has gone into effect. So I'm kind of curious, do you think that, are we coming to the end of this question? Are we starting to be like, all right, we've done with the laws there, we've done the book ban conversation, let's move on? Or do you think that there's more that people who are in favor of these restrictions might try to do?
I mean, I think this is just the next nexus of it, because the book ban law has been in effect for a while. In Meridian Library District, as far as I'm aware, there have been 4 books that have been submitted for removal. 3 have been reviewed, none have been removed. And so I think this is the next step where these people who are in favor of these book bans, this censorship, they wanted books banned. That didn't happen with the library boards. They wanted the Meridian Library District dissolved. That didn't happen. The community took a stand against that. And then they wanted this law passed to ban books. And that has also not been a popular policy and has not been something that the community has rallied behind. So I think this is just the next step. They don't seem to be satisfied with the fact that this really doesn't seem to be Meridian community values. And so I think this is their attempt to get on the board, to control that narrative, to control that direction, and push the community in the direction they think it should go. And so that's kind of what I think is on the table, is what will our boards look like? So I do think these are very important elections. Whenever people talk about, I can't make a difference, my voice doesn't matter, my vote doesn't matter, it absolutely matters. Like, this comes down to dozens or tens of votes sometimes. Like, this is a place where your vote matters, and what you want our community to look like and reflect will absolutely be impacted.
Yeah, and great point on these kind of elections are the ones that make the biggest difference in your communities. We should mention, too, that there's another thing on the ballot, especially if you live in places like Meridian and Eagle. There's another race that's going to be important. That's the Ada County Free Library District, the Ada Community Library for people who go to that. That's what governs this. We'll put a link in the show notes to a write-up from our Hey Boise newsletter editor who broke down that race. Very similar thing, where there's candidates that are against book censorship and restrictions, and candidates that are kind of in favor of it, or definitely in favor of it. And also, we'll put links in the show notes for where you can vote. Early voting, I think you already mentioned, but it ends on Friday, May 16th. And there's a bunch of locations, including the Meridian City Hall.
Anyone can follow. It takes something special to be an original, which is why the 2025 Lincoln Navigator SUV arrives with new ways of surrounding you in luxury, including the ultra-wide 48-inch panoramic display and the multi-sensory Lincoln Rejuvenate experience. A true original never stops evolving. So meet the 2025 Navigator, the original that's all new and better than ever. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Lincoln and Navigator are trademarks of Ford or its affiliates.
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that jiffing good. Get your Jif at Jif.com.
Okay, Frankie, I am so excited about this weekend because finally, the weather is going to be gorgeous. We've had a couple of weeks of nice weather, but every time it hits the weekend, it's windy, it's rainy, it's stormy, which, I don't mind a nice rainy day, but every weekend, the weather has not been ideal. So I am so excited. It's going to be into the 80s. It's supposed to be sunny and gorgeous. It doesn't look like it'll be too windy. Please, weather people, keep that a reality. I trust you. I believe you can control this. I choose to believe that. So that's my pick of the week. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to wear sunscreen, but probably I'll get sunburned because that's how that goes for me. But I am just so excited to just soak it all in after all of these cold, windy weekends.
Well, hold on. Saturday is supposed to be a high of 90?
Yeah.
Is it summer? Like, what day is it? That's crazy.
I am so ready for it. I've got sundresses for days that I've been waiting.
I'm happy for you. I will be sweating and not very happy in 90-degree weather. But that is for me and my cold weather girlies to talk about. So, but yeah, I think that, patio season, right? Trail season, all of that. But yes, if we can talk about patio season and a new old place that is returning that I think I'm just so glad that it's back. Amano.
Yeah.
Yay, finally. Okay, as you all know, we love Amano here at CityCast Boise. We've interviewed Chef Sal Alamia before, and he is, of course, up for a James Beard Award this year. I really hope and think it could be his year. We've only had one Idaho chef win a James Beard Award. That was Chris Kamori from Kin in Boise. Sal's been nominated. He's been nominated. I feel like this might be his year. I really hope it is. Those James Beard Awards, by the way, it's in June, so we'll find out soon. But this new location looks absolutely gorgeous. It's, right across from the Indian Creek Plaza in the old Rediscovered Books location. So as our Evelyn Avitia told me, it's a prime location. It's a perfect spot. But the fact that they get to have their own space, because I liked the old space, but it sounded like it had real limitations with their kitchen. They didn't own the property. They do with this one. So they've really been able to make it, the space, I think, reflect the incredible food in a way that I can't wait to check out someday soon.
Well, Frankie, thank you so much for joining me. These were a lot of really in-depth, hyper-local topics, and I appreciate you taking the time to break them all down with me and share your perspective. I hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks, Lindsay. Don't get sunburned.
That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. The show is produced by Evelyn Avitia, Frankie Barnhill, and me, Lindsay Van Allen. Blake Hunter writes our Hey Boise newsletter with help from Adrian Gonzalez. And our theme music is by Up Is the Down Is the, with additional music from All the Kimonos and Sven Lindvall. We'll be back on Monday with a look at how our community is prepping for fire season. Catch you then.